Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Barriers and Boundaries Resilience Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, DB. This is your personal and or organizational resilience building podcast where I'm talking about healthy employees creating healthy organizations. Today I had a chance to catch up with my buddy Trevor, known him for a long time, but his story it may be similar to yours and married, got three young kids under five, working a full-time job, has a community, has hobbies. And sometimes here on Barriers and Boundaries, we really just want to tap into some of the practical aspects of resilience, reminding ourselves that in our everyday life, we can take a pause, we can learn from the things that we're going through. Sometimes we don't even realize that caught up in the busyness of things and we don't realize to take a step back, take a pause, and just say, what am I learning here? What are some things that are really important to me? Just reconnecting with the spouse, reconnecting with the kids, ensuring that we have a community of resources around us. So again, nothing academic or anything like that today, but just a conversation of someone that's just living it, maybe reflective of us all in some degree. But that's what we're going to do here from time to time. Just hear stories and just figure out what we're figuring out along the way. So check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments, or shoot me an email at bnbresilience@gmail.com, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, my friends, we are back, and I am excited to have a good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, Trevor Christensen here. Trevor, thanks so much for being on the podcast with us today, talking about personal resilience, organizational resilience, and I know that you're actively involved with both aspects of that. So I think this conversation could go either way, but I wanted to really kind of highlight the work-life balance and that role that it plays in resilience. But first, I just want to hear about you, man. Can you tell our listeners, can you tell our viewers like who you are, what you're into these days?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate it. Um, so yeah, I am a married man, father of three. We just had our third 2 months ago, and we're in the thick of it. So we
It,
have
what are
two
what are
boys.
their ages? Two
Yeah,
boys?
the
Yeah.
the eldest is 4.5, then 2.5, and then we just had a girl, and she is 2 months now. So almost there.
All
When we hit that 4 month mark, we'll be able to sleep train and start getting our sleep back a little bit. But
Oh,
right
there you go.
now,
All
and
three
then
under five.
yeah, it's wild. And then yeah, I'm a business owner. Um, I have the luxury of working from home, which is amazing.
Mm.
Through work is how I met my wife, which was really special. She's actually in media on the news here in San Diego. So she interviewed me at one of my work conventions, and then the rest was history. And here we are. So
That's definitely a mix between work and home life,
yeah,
influencing one over the other.
but
I
I'm
love
very
it.
blessed that since I have my own business, I get to work from home. So I get to be present with the children. Coaching, I'm already coaching two of Atlas's sports during the week, so it keeps us busy. But that's always been our goal. So it's great that we are able to do that.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about your business? What
Yeah,
that's
so
about?
it's a weird niche, but I opened my own staffing business 9 years ago. So I provide models and brand ambassadors for mainly like television network events or whoever needs them really. But when there's
Yeah.
big conventions like Comic-Con, Sundance Film Festival, South by Southwest, all over the country, we have tens of thousands of these brand ambassadors and actor models in our database. Um,
Yes.
Production companies or networks reach out to us and say, "Hey, we need X amount of people for these days, temporary work. Can you send them our way? We'll train them up. We'll give them the talking points, the clothing, and then they go work these temp jobs and then on to the next." So it's really cool. I used to have to travel a bunch,
Mm.
but once Allie and I knew we were going to settle down, we were going to have kids, I was able to train my team up to go in my stead, which is a huge blessing. So I could be home and present and traveling less.
Oh,
So,
there you go. But still
mhm.
a lot of projects, big projects, it sounds like.
Yeah,
A
super
lot
big
of
project. It's
requirements.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
It's
Well, thanks for sharing that. And you said you've been married for how long now?
Or you put me on the spot like that. 6 years we were married. We
So,
got married in 17.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this
So you've
December will be 7 years.
so the majority of the time that you've run your business, you've been married, and now you're adding kids to the mix. And
Yeah.
what is a normal day balancing requirements between the two, especially working from home? I mean, that's it's probably
Hmm.
pretty easy to like, oh, let me just go take care of this since I'm at the house. Is that
Yeah.
yeah?
Well,
What
I
does that
mean,
normal day look like for you?
yeah, you got to get in work where you can. And Allie and I always, from the get-go, we had these long coming to Jesus talks in the beginning of like, hey, what's our home life going to look like? What's parenting going to look like? How are we going to do this? So we've always kind of had a plan,
Mm,
but when you're in it, you just got to get it done. So, I get up before everybody else. So if there's pending work, I'll hammer those emails out or whatever I have to do. The kids get up, then it's kid time. I'm feeding, getting them dressed, getting them off to school, handling a couple emails in between that, and then I come home. I hammer out more work, and then every day at lunch I get to go take a little gym break, and I go train jujitsu, which is nice. Go home,
a-
work a little
Adding
more, and
a
then
hobby. So
and then
you're
it's kids.
adding a hobby into all of the things that you got to take care of.
You have to. If you've got to carve that time out, right, to get that. And the jujitsu, even though you're rolling around and strangling your friends, it's more of like a mental benefit than it is even a physical one, right?
Yeah.
You just need that break. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
All right. So what I'm hearing is it starts with knowing what you got to take care of, right?
Mhm.
Knowing what tasks you have to do. And then with the home life, with, being married, the communication piece, right?
Mhm.
So is that a big part of just who you were, or do you figure this out on the fly, where you just kind of
No,
develop this
not natural,
as you went
not who I
along?
was, not who I am. It takes work, my friend. If I could turn this camera on and show you all the books that I've read over the years.
Yeah.
No, none of it is natural. You have to do the work, I think. You have to put in the time and you have to do the effort. I mean, look at divorce rates for our parents' generation were horrible, right?
Yeah.
I think we're the generation that can break that, but we have to put in the work. We have to show our kids how to do it the right way. So they're not ending up in broken homes and they just repeat what they know, unfortunately. And if they don't learn those skills of like, hey, what does a daddy look like? How does he love mommy? How does he treat kids? How do they function like this? So
Yeah.
we have to put in all that work. We have to show them by demonstrating it, daily. My wife has to remind me, like, hey, kiss me in front of the kids. Hey, kids are watching, watch your language. So we have to do that. So like Allie and I went to premarital counseling. We read a bunch of books, before we even got married.
Yeah.
Um, we still practice every day. We get in an argument and be like, hey, you're not fighting fair. All right, all right, all right. We call each other out, even though it
Yeah.
hurts and stings. It's like, no, we made these agreements. Like, this is how we work through arguments. This is what we do. So
Yeah, there's a lot of work that went in on the front end of that,
there has to
obviously,
be. Yeah.
for you to
Es-
be that
Especially
successful
when you get
or
this deep
yeah.
and running a business. My wife works full time as well.
Mhm.
And three kids and running a home and keeping everything organized and clean, and it's wild, but I wouldn't have it any other way, and I think it's all going to fly by and we're going to miss these crazy times. But yeah, it's buckling down. We also have a really great community that we built up in our neighborhood,
Oh, nice.
friends and
Yeah.
family that we get together. Last night was Halloween.
Yeah.
So we had like 50 people at our home. It was insane. But it
Yes.
was all of our friends, all of our kids' friends, all of our other adults. If I'm not there watching the kids, my other buddy's watching the kids, and we're all getting each other's back and picking up where, others are having a tough time. So it's nice.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight a couple of things that so started with know what you want to do, good communication, but then you kind of sprinkled in some vision there, right? So you talked about yeah, sprinkled in it, right? So you talked about just understanding your context, your parents' generation, divorce rates. So having that vision of wanting to break that kind of
Yeah.
cycle, and then the importance of community. How I mean, all of those good. So we're really trying to build up personal resilience. We believe that, when you have good personal resilience, that's going to make you a better employee, and then that's going to in turn, make the organization better and more resilient when you have people that can be there. How much influence do you have on your team to kind of shape those types of moments, to kind of pour into them? I mean, because this is a wealth of information right here, and I think any leader of a business, should have those opportunities, or at least try to discuss it. You know, do you feel like you have uh, a good relationship with the team that
Yeah,
works for you?
I I'd hope so. You always look at yourself and you're like, crud, am I doing the best I can or helping them? Or, you have imposter syndrome sometimes.
Mm,
But I have two full-time employees, and one of them, Angela, is who I basically started the company with day one.
okay.
I had a vision that I wanted to go out and this is what I wanted to do, but I needed to bring someone who knew I knew the business side of things, but I didn't know the industry. So I
Mhm.
needed to bring someone in who's smarter than me in that area and who knows it. So I kind of poached her from somewhere else and I Jerry Maguire. And I said, hey, I'm starting a business. I can't pay you, but come with me. Let's do this together. And
Yeah, yeah,
and she's been with me since day one. And um it's amazing how watching her growth,
yeah,
my employees' growth, but also I'm sure I've grown too. I mean, when you go out
yeah.
and you start this stuff and you start making mistakes and losing money, and I go to my dad, I'm like, Dad, I did this, and he's like, well, in the business world, that's called paying tuition. I'm like, paying tuition? He's like, yeah, you lose
I
the money,
love
but you
it.
learn the lesson.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
but yeah, like I've seen, her grow over the years and take on more and more and more responsibility. And now she's almost cut me out of the picture where she's just running stuff and I don't even know what's happening until she's saying, hey, these people invoice these people. Here's pictures of. So yeah, we've all grown together so
Mm.
much. But
What would you say to someone that is starting out their own business that has kids? I would imagine it would look a lot like what we've talked about so far. But just, if you had like one piece of advice, something that you feel like, they need to figure out quickly that's going to help them and protect them.
just do it,
Okay.
one foot in front of the other, and don't stop.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing of advice because I don't think there's one specific piece of business advice that is going to help other than actually committing and doing something.
Mm,
Because
mm,
how often do you hear people talking about, I got this idea, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's the 1% that actually like execute and actually do it. I have a lot of friends that are talking about ideas, but I encourage them to just jump and do it and keep going. But that's your personal journey. You have to do that. Otherwise, it's not going
yeah.
to come to fruition. It's not going to happen. It won't be completed because one foot in front of the other, and then you got to take those hits on the jaw and just keep trucking through. Otherwise, you end up quitting, which,
Yeah. How
yeah,
much has your hobby influenced your outlook on engaging in business? Was it jujitsu rolling
jujitsu,
around?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah.
got this nice little gem that my wife hates, but I like it. It's fine.
You gonna go get that drained or
No, it's done.
oh, it's done. Okay.
It's been drained so many times. That's my new ear. That's cartilage that regrew there. So
Yeah. Oh wow.
I don't
But
know how much
yeah.
jujitsu actually translates into that as far as it's you could compare a whole bunch of stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
it gives me confidence in just being a man. Atlas has been doing it 6 months now. He's loving
Oh,
it.
nice.
It does end up becoming part of your identity. I mean, you do something so often, so much, but I don't know. It gives me the confidence. It gives me that hour break in the middle of the day where I could kind of reset, and I think that is what makes me better as a dad or business owner, employer is managing myself, keeping myself healthy, giving myself that time where I could reset, come back, and keep grinding through.
Hmm.
Um, that that's nice. Whether everybody's schedule is different. You make that time early in the morning, late at night, middle of the day, whatever works for each individual. But having that break and that actually time to carve out and work out makes you more well-rounded. I mean, you see successful people, rich people, they're always fit in shape, and it's not just a look; it's because they're find a way to balance their life to make themselves the best possible, that they could be.
Mm. But do you have a working definition of resilience for yourself, or do you feel like that's a part of your vocabulary? And like
Yeah,
you just mentioned the grind and working through the grind.
dude. So I used to have, I mean, this is a how I view resilience, I guess. But for years, when I started my business, I had a little plaque on my wall right behind my computer, and it said, pour a cup of coffee, put on some gangster rap, and handle your business.
That's
Because in the
brilliant.
beginning, or even still now, you get so stressed out, or you think
Yeah.
a huge problem is there in front of you, and you're like, how can I get over this? How can I handle this? But you step back, you sleep on it is always the best because when you're all frazzled and worked up, it's hard to work through and come up with solutions. But I
Hmm.
swear, the most impossible task, you get a night's sleep, you wake up, grab your coffee, you look at it with fresh eyes, you'll solve it so fast. You'll figure it out. You always
Yeah.
do. And 9 years through having my own business, there's been so many times that I thought it was the end of the world. It's all over, blah, blah, blah. And then you get some sleep, coffee, put on some rap, and you figure it out.
There you go. And that's a good strategy too, just because of the impact on the brain that sleep provides. There's so many studies, so many
Yeah.
books that, Why We Sleep is a book that comes to mind. Just
Mm.
talks about how it cleans the brain and yeah, just all the benefits that comes from that. And it sounds very disciplined. Sounds like you have a lot of, habits, routines that are more beneficial than anything.
I try. I mean, I've read
Yeah.
all those habit books. There's what, like six of them now. I feel like there's a new yellow, and they're all yellow. Why are all the habit books yellow? But they come out with a new one every few years, and I read it. They all
Yeah.
kind of say the same thing. But yeah, you realize how important that is,
Hmm.
especially as you get older and you're juggling more and more and more and more stuff every single day. You think you're busy in your 20s, you think you're busy in your 30s. I think I'm busy in my 40s. I'm sure it's even going to be worse in my 50s, but you figure out how to do it. And yeah,
Mm.
you have to have those positive habits built in.
Yeah. So, talking about going back to, having kids three under five, which props to you, man.
Well, I'm
That
26, and this is what it does to your face.
love it. I love it. How has having young children impacted your approach to the grind and just wanting to do great work and wanting to, see businesses succeed?
Well,
Uh,
that's exactly it. You
mm,
want to do that. Just like what you said, it makes you want to do it more. Uh, Before I had kids, I thought life was great and the best. When kids enter your life, then you realize like the meaning of life, and you're like, this is what it's really all about. But
mm,
then you can't fail. I mean, not. I shouldn't say you can't fail. You can't fail. Failure is a good thing. It's positive. It makes everyone better, but it makes you want to succeed. It makes you want to try harder, do better, get up every day, and just keep pushing through and grinding, not calling in sick, not giving up. It definitely gives you an added boost in everything that you do.
yeah.
You got to set that example for them and show them, and give them the best life that you can, you know,
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
life than you had growing up.
And that's actually one of the things that, my wife and I we talk about is we just want to, create a better life than what we had, and we had great lives, but we want to make it even better. And
Well, your boy's in like your boy didn't. You mean your boy isn't on a uh, dirt Louisiana road going to school barefoot?
Yeah, walking both ways on the gravel.
But that was you. You literally grew up on a dirt road, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yep. all the way till I was 18 and took off and found some greener pastures for myself. But I mean,
Much
that's
different than a top 10 school in the world in Singapore.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, the opportunities this kid has had.
Hmm.
But I mean,
He's
yeah, I
and
mean
he's just squandering
that's what
them
it's
all.
about. He's gonna have a tough time topping the what we've afforded him.
Right. I know. Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully. But so that kind of ties into a question of what is success? What does fulfillment, what does that actually look like for you? What does that mean for you? Is that the meaning of life? And what is that fulfillment piece for you?
That's such a good question. And I
Mm.
feel like
Well, I'll
whatever
say it.
answer I have today, I feel
Let
like
me
that could
back
be
up. Let me back up a
different,
little bit.
right?
Yeah, let me back because I know it's a heavy, that could go any direction.
Yeah.
Do you see this as what am I getting out of life versus what I'm giving to life? Does that change like your approach in a lot of things? Because it's easy to be successful. We can get a lot of stuff out of life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you would agree with that, but um, does that change of like when you look at it in a perspective of what am I getting versus what am I giving?
Gosh. What's weird right now in the walk of life that I'm in,
Mm,
everything is geared towards the kids. So everything that I'm doing, Halloween decorations, coaching jujitsu, coaching soccer, getting them up, like how much screen time am I allowing them? How much,
mm,
like brain stimulation and different things that's all we do is geared towards making their development the best that we could do. So
yeah,
getting what I'm getting out of life is the joy of watching the kids, have the time of their life. And that honestly as a parent is the best thing to see more than anything that I'm gonna do. But we're blessed. We have a roof over our head. All of our kids are healthy and they're getting to enjoy life. And we have a community and it's thriving right now. It's like we're
yeah.
so blessed. We
That sounds
have
fun. Yeah.
all these
Do
other
y'all have
parents and
any
friends come over.
do you got any family like traditions already kind of set of things that are fun for you guys? Or is it just kind of like, oh, hey, this sounds fun, let's go do that, and it's on to the next thing?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we get a humongous Christmas tree every year, so we're gonna do that. After Thanksgiving, one we have to get up on a ladder and decorate, and the kids love that. Atlas
That's
talks
awesome.
about how big his Christmas tree is all the time. So I'm gonna go take down the Halloween decorations later today and put up Christmas stuff immediately.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
already
excited
beat you
for
to it,
that.
man. I already beat you
Did
to
you?
it. We got a living room full.
You know what? I'm sure we have traditions that we built. I'm just blanking on
Yeah,
them right now, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have a funny one. We've had pizza every Sunday for the last 9 years.
what?
Every Sunday.
That's fun. Oh,
And- yeah.
that's good though. That's what your kids are gonna grow up and like, what do you mean you don't eat pizza on Sundays? One thing that we do is we always sit down and have dinner at the dinner table together no matter what.
Nice.
Um,
Nice. Yeah.
and our kids have done that since they were babies and they don't know anything different.
Hmm.
Allie, my wife, credit to her for doing that and pushing it. But I didn't realize, I just thought that's normal now. But when we see other families, we talked about it the other day, they're chasing their kids around at dinner all around the house. So I guess
Hmm.
sitting down at the dinner table is not commonplace, but
Yeah.
we want our kids to see that. So
That's a healthy discipline, just to kind of build that, eh, they'll miss that when they're older, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
hopefully we
they
can
moved
hold on to
out.
that as long as we can.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully that's something that that's something that you probably wish that they'll take in with their families when they get older, right?
Yeah,
Establishing
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Allie and I try to not have our cell phones out also because
Mm,
we realize they're watching as often as we're on our phone. The most
mm.
heartbreaking thing that the kids do to me, I feel like, is if I'm doing something on my phone, they walk up and they push the phone down, like, Daddy, look at me, or Daddy, play with me.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I'm literally ignoring you to scroll through stupid social media or whatever. Like, wow, just daggers to the heart when they do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So you don't respond with like, "Hey, I'm taking care of your future here. I gotta do this."
I know exactly.
Oh goodness. So work-life balance. Does that mean anything to you? Does that have a
It's
it,
huge
yeah.
because if you don't have that, you can't do it. Like you'd be so stressed out if you don't do that. You'd
Mm,
be so disorganized in not just work, but life.
mm,
Um, Taking care of yourself, and then that goes right to your brain, and then you're not taking care of yourself, and then you're not taking care of your family. It's
yeah.
the whole being on the airplane. You got to put your mask on first before you can put someone else's mask on.
Oh, that's
So
good.
if I don't figure out how to balance all of that with, that's why jujitsu is so important for me, not for the self-defense aspect of it, but for just the mental health and keeping my body, in shape. So you
Yeah.
have to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to handle these three kids. I'd go crazy. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's kind of right on what I just knowing you for as long as I've known you. That's really kind of what I've seen in you. As you talk about all these things, like I can definitely see that character. I can see why that's who you are, if that
Yeah,
makes
thanks,
sense.
dude.
So, hey, is there any way we can connect with you, social media, any way that we can, kind of follow you, anything we can
Well,
provide to
gosh, the business is just called Activation Pro. You need
Activation
staffing.
Pro?
It's
Yeah,
on, yeah, Instagram. I have a website, but I mean that's if you're in need of models and actors for if you're in the experiential marketing space, but that's such a niche.
niche. Yeah,
So I also have I'm a social media influencer also for jujitsu, which is funny.
yeah.
So I started
Ta
making memes like a year and a half ago just because my buddies said I should, and it's
okay.
exploded. I've got like 80,000 followers already.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's
And that's
crazy.
which one is that?
That's BJJ Laughs.
BJJ Laughs.
Yeah, Brazilian
Actually,
Jiu-Jitsu.
I already knew about it. It's really funny, guys. You got to check it out. I just wanted him to say it.
That's right.
Um, yeah, no, it's those definitely bring a lot of joy to
Yeah. I
to
haven't
your
had
stream.
time. I've been off of it since the baby
Yeah,
came. It's
yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. It's so time consuming, and now with a
Sure.
third kid, it's like I don't know. Maybe things will change when we're off maternity paternity leave and things level out. But right now, it's
Mm,
all I could do is work and kids.
yeah.
So
Well, that sounds like a season too. That sounds like a key aspect of personal resilience is just knowing when certain things are in season and when things are not, or
that's
when
a
to
good way
let
to
go
put
of,
it. Yeah.
let go of things and then, so you have the ability to grab other things that may be more important or just
Yeah.
maybe for a season. Um, yeah, so that's one of those I feel like, we talk about barriers and boundaries a lot. I feel like not knowing when to let go of things is a big barrier for people.
Mm.
And not saying you have to let go of it forever, right? You can always just let go of it for a moment.
Yeah.
Um,
I let go of it for a month, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to get back into it. And I got into it for like 4 days, and then I just put it down, and I just haven't thought about it, except when
yeah.
other people bring it up. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I
It's- that's good self-awareness too, though,
yeah.
right? Just being able to know that, like, now's not the time.
It's not, yeah. Because then you're spending so much time on who's got time to scour all over Instagram like that when so we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Might
right.
not be the season. I like that. I'm gonna start using
Yeah.
that.
Well, Trevor, man, I love you. I appreciate you, and
Love you, man. Thanks for having me on.
thank for being here, man. I sincerely appreciate it.
I
Uh,
love the work you're doing. I love your books. Love the
Thanks.
podcast. You're
Yeah,
killing it.
yeah. Thanks, man. Just hustling, right? Just a cup of
Mhm.
coffee, some gangster rap, and off we go.
Well, I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot more of all of this now that you're a retired man.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what happens. I'm just uh, speaking from experience, learning to let go of one thing, and it
Ooh-wee.
might have been 25 years in that season, but it's time for another season. So there we
Yeah,
go.
and what you don't know and what's coming next is going to be so exciting. It always is.
Yeah.
We've lived enough life to know that. So
That's
it's
right.
gonna be exciting. So
Yeah.
good.
Well, look forward to getting the families back together again, man.
Let's
So
do it soon. Thanks for having
love
me
you,
on,
man.
brother.
All right, grace, peace, brother.
All
All
right.
right, my friends. Well, there you have it. That's Trevor. Like I said at the beginning, his story might just be something that might tap into something that we're going through or have gone through. Just the importance of self-awareness today, just the importance of just reminding ourselves that we may be more resilient than we thought. Remember to stick to some of those principles that he talked about, things that you have picked up along the way, whether it's just reminding yourself what your goals are, why you do certain things that you do, what's important to you, what's the connection between what you're doing with your personal life, with your community, or with your personal life and your professional life. So again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, and all that good stuff. That's important for me. But again, it's really about just your story, your journey. How can this podcast help you stay resilient? And until next time, EB out here.